Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, And if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
Assalamu alaikum, family. Happy Saturday and welcome to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks. Y'all know this is where we talk about life, love, and business. Welcome to those of you who are already in the chat. Welcome, Brother Lamont. Wa alaikum salam. Welcome, Brother Victor. Wa alaikum salam. I see the rest of y'all ain't woke up yet, huh? I see, okay, we got about 12 people up there. All right. So what kind of coffee, tea y'all got today? I have some chai. Y'all know I make my own chai with the herbs and spices and stuff like that. So that's what I felt like this morning. It still was just way too hot and humid for us to be outside. As soon as this weather settles down, I know you all say you like me when we do the outside shows. We'll get back. We'll get back to that. So we are coming off of the heels of our series on the women of the Bible. And of course, as you all know, let's see, who is that? Brother Kaleem, wa alaikum salam. Shout out to the brothers. You know, I really, really, really appreciate y'all. The way y'all support y'all sister. Look, I really, really, really appreciate it. It's just beautiful. Thank you. There's so much I could say about that spiritually, and I may get into it a little bit, but because Allah always makes up for things, so we'll talk about that. But anyway, we're fresh off the heels of our series of the women of the Bible, and we're not done yet. I just decided to give you all a little break and just kind of recap and recover. Wa alaikum salam, Sister Aletha. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you like our new commercial using the minister's voiceover. That's from his 1984 lecture, Turn Back to the Light. I'll play it again at the end of the show for those of you who didn't get a chance to see it. All right, y'all. Thank you for welcoming up. I see we rolling. We up to 20 something. All right. Good morning, Mother. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, welcome. Mom says she likes it. Brother Lamont likes it. All right. So I thought I'd give us a break. Just a little break. We're still gonna, I think one or two of y'all have said y'all want to continue the Women of the Bible series on Coffee Talks. Let me know in the chat if you want to continue that. We're just taking a little break this week because there's so many incredible women. Sister Aletha and I were on the phone yesterday talking about Queen Sheba and how underrepresented she is and how amazing and powerful. You know, she was one of the wives of Solomon, but she was a god. And she functioned at such a higher and beautiful level. I think she's one that we should really dive into and just lift her and bring her to life. So I'm thinking of doing her next Saturday if y'all want to still hear about the women of the Bible. So just, let me know. We had a great discussion about Solomon and Sheba and her sons and just how underrepresented she is and how they try to play down her greatness. I don't know if you all know she was one of the Candaces, but we'll break it down. We'll do I'll think about it. I'll see how my spirit feels, and we'll do Sheba next week. Okay, so there was an underlying theme, just to take this kind of mid-season break. What is the underlying theme of all the women in the Bible that we studied and that we've talked about? And I know I toggle between it being faith and love. And I see love as the mother or foundational theme of all of them, right? From Mary Magdalene to Lydia to Candace, all of those that we cover, Hogla, it's love. Love is the key. And I think sometimes we get confused about love because these people whose mind we are operating in have given us a definition of love. And I believe that's all in an interest to take away the power of love. Because if they take away the power of love from us, then they can dominate us and they can rule us. So we are operating within a mind. And what Master Father Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan are doing is giving us a new mind so that we operate outside of the realms of the mind in which we live in. That's a miracle, and that's love. So we're being ruled by a mind or a mindset. And that is why, and let me say this before I say that, it has become our mother mindset, meaning we nurse on it. And even though it's not working, we still nurse on it. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says we love the white man because he gives us nothing. So we're constantly nursing on that mindset. I think people get thrown off when you hear people say things like white supremacy and all of that. It's really a mind. And these teachings and these things that we learn and we go over on Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks or on the Mind of an Entrepreneur show, or when you go to your mosque meetings and your lectures, and even technically when you go to church, we're supposed to be learning the mind of Christ. See, Jesus came to us 2,000 years ago as a template or an example of the Jesus that was to come. It's all throughout the Bible. Y'all know this. But the mindset that he demonstrated to us was a template, a survival and a thriving mechanism. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from 1400 or so years ago, came and gave us a template of a human being. One with perfect love. Jesus was one with perfect love. And so love is the key, because the two of them in their perfected love gave us the example, gave us these beautiful books, gave us the tools and strategies that we need in order to survive today. You see? So love is the key. And what does that mean? See, because this mind that we're living in has become this mind of white supremacy, this mind, let me say it this way, this mind that's rooted in white supremacy, because the creation of this mind was born out of the idea that white is supreme and white is dominant. That's what Yaqub was doing when he brought in the mind of this world. He said, White is supreme. So what do? When we feel a certain way, when we get in trouble, we go back to that mindset. We could be studying, we could be going to motivational stuff, we could be doing all of these things. But the minute we get worried, the minute we get uncomfortable, the minute we get tired, we go back to the breast of the mind of this world. This is some powerful stuff. So I said, why do they misrepresent Jesus? Why do they misrepresent Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? Why are they so misrepresented? It's because their way, their mannerisms, their mindset, the way they interact with God is our template. And it's what will defeat this mind that we find ourselves imprisoned by. We're so imprisoned and honeycombed by this mind, we don't think we're pretty. We don't like our color. We don't like our features. We don't like our culture. We don't like ourselves. Why? Because we have been taught to like the template of this mind better, to love them better. So we are teaching ourselves now that we are dark-skinned versions of them. And so we throw away our culture and we do whatever they tell us to do. Whatever. So let's talk about love. And this came to me the other day. I literally was driving down the street. And I'm one of those kind of persons that I really count my blessings because I'm really always striving to go into higher levels of mathematical thinking. And everybody knows that when you first learn math, the first thing you have to do is learn how to count. So in the spiritual realm, if you want to go to higher levels of mathematical thinking, you got to learn how to count. Count what? Count your blessings. Look for Allah everywhere and count it, meaning measure it, recognize it. So I was driving down the street and I was counting my blessings. And it just hit me. Love. Love is the key. But not love defined in this ratchetness version of love. Not that fake stuff. Not that love that makes you weak to where you got to go on Catfish or Cheaters and demean yourself. Not that ain't even love. That's just some emotional interdependency that fills a void in your life that makes you want to kill yourself when it's gone. That's some demonic energy is what that is. It's nursing on demonic energy and finding comfort and company with demonic energy. That's not love. I'm talking about the kind of love that ties us to all the way back to the Creator himself. The kind of love that makes us defy our odds. And because we can't even defy odds, because we can't comprehend it, we have to first start by doing what? Counting. See, real love is a masterful mathematic teaching and emotional interaction that produces, that is creative, that takes you to the next level, that manifests. But we can't get there until we learn how to count. So I can't teach you algebra if you can't count. I can't teach you calculus and trigonometry if you can't count. So you got to practice counting first. And the first thing that came to my mind I think I told you all that we've been dealing with a little family drama, right? We have actually literally a demon in our family that, and I say a demon because what it reminds me of is, you know how when people go to church and the prophet or the pastor walks past them and puts their hand on their forehead and they start retching on the floor and going crazy. So I have a family member that was having a conversation with somebody else that didn't have anything to do with me. And all of a sudden he just retched out about me. Said, what about Wendy? She's a whore for Farrakhan, and just went ape shit, excuse my language. And I thought about it and I asked Allah, I said, what is this for? What is this? And yesterday, and then he sends out really nasty, there's several members of my family that have been victimized by him. He's actually been in prison before for harassing people and domestic violence and that kind of stuff. And so yesterday he started in again, and we got, restraining orders worked out against him, and the police have been notified and they're going to serve him and all of that. But bigger than that, right? That's just sometimes you got to do those things for people who function on that level, right? Somebody who would be having a conversation with somebody about something totally different. I'm not even on the phone. I ain't got nothing to do with it. But all of a sudden I got to be threatened. So that's all I'm going to say like that. I'm going to leave it like that. But so I asked Allah this. I said, okay, Allah, I know very clearly that you are elevating me. I'm in an elevation phase, a phase that is helping me to penetrate certain layers of that mind that we talked about. And I also realized that in order for me to penetrate those layers, I have to count. I got to do some high level mathematics, and divine intervention is necessary. But I said, Allah, now that is nothing this person could say that could move me. There's nothing the person could say. I'm not influenced by this person like that. So what is it? Because everything happens for a reason. And then I said, and then let me go back to this part. So the person admitted some things. And so I think they may be like low key an agent or low key on some saboteur type of stuff. That's how they were just looking for an end, to get at me. So I'm clear that I was the target of this thing. And so it was on Friday, yesterday. And I asked Allah, and I sat down and did a little meditation and focused on the Holy Quran. And when I opened the book, guess what I turned to? Al-Jum'ah, the congregation. Jum'ah is when we normally have Friday prayer. Surah 62. And then it kind of made me focus on this one section. It said section 1, Muslims chosen for divine favors. Now we're not talking about, let me say this. Some of y'all get freaked out because we say Muslims. Muslim is simply what? Somebody give me the definition of Muslim in the chat. A Muslim is one who submits his will to do the will of Allah. So those of us that submit, those of us that love God enough to totally submit or be in the act of submission, or to even practice shedding this mindset so that we can be in total submission, are chosen for divine favors. So if it wasn't hard, they wouldn't even have to mention it. But that's what this section is entitled that I turned to. Thank you, Brother Lamont. Muslims chosen for divine favors. So wrapped up in that section title is love. Because the love has to be there in order to create the trust for submission. Now, some people say, well, God can beat you into submission, or God can give you circumstances that'll make you submit. Yes. You might submit then for the moment, but you may not love enough to give your life in submission. See, you may submit for the moment, like, okay. And then once you get it together, you like, I'm good. And you keep on rolling and stay in that mindset. But wrapped in that statement, I saw love. Yes, you're right, Brother Kaleem. No compulsion. Let me read these two verses that popped out at me. On Friday, when I turned to Al Juma, when I was asking him what this means, right? Because it is nothing this man can say or do that's going to change me or alter me, or I don't even care about him like that, right? So then check this out. It said, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth glorifies Allah, the King, the Holy, the Mighty, the Wise. So here I get these threats, and Allah don't say, baby, don't worry about it, I got you. I didn't turn to something where he said, I didn't even turn to Psalms 23. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I turned to this. It said, whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth glorifies Allah, the King, the Holy, the Mighty, the Wise. Then it goes on. Here's the second one that popped up. It said, it is who raised among the illiterates a messenger from among themselves, who recites to them his messages and purifies them and teaches them the book and the wisdom, although they were before certainly in manifest error. Let me give y'all that again. I'm going through this abuse, these threats. And Allah says, whatever is in the heaven glorifies me. So now I have to say, okay, so I got to glorify him. I got to find him in this. Then he says, then it says, talking about Allah in person, because he couldn't have been in person, because it says he couldn't have been a spook if he raised something. So Allah in person, it is who raised among the illiterates. So listen, we are taught that we were an illiterate people when Allah came to raise us. We were a virgin people with no prior interaction with God himself. We have been made blind, deaf, and dumb by the mind that created the white supremacy that enslaved us. So we were an illiterate people. Yes, some of us can read, but that's not talking about illiteracy in terms of reading. It's talking about literacy in terms of the knowledge of God. But among those illiterate people, he chose a messenger. Huh? What is this person attacking me about? They're attacking me about the messenger of God who recites to them his messages and purifies them. Come on now. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in reciting the messages that were revealed to them about everything from our diet to our mindset, is purifying us. Purifying us of what? Of this devilish world, this mind that we live in that creates demons like the ones that I was dealing with. Come on, somebody. This just for me? Am I the only one getting this? Thank you, Brother Kaleem, for giving me some feedback. Then he says, and teaches them the book and the wisdom. The book, I'm assuming, is part and partly the Holy Quran, the wisdom, our supreme wisdom, although they were before certainly in manifest error. So before us, certainly in manifest error. And you know what came to me immediately after I read that? I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to just give you the thought that came right in my mind right after I read that, because I was driving down the street, counting my blessings. Allah said to me, love is the key. I get in the house, get these threatening text messages, sit on the phone with the police and get everything together so they can do their thing. And then I come to the Holy Quran, turn to Al-Juma on Friday night, and Allah says, Muslims chosen for divine favors. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth glorifies Allah, the King, the Holy, the Mighty, the Wise. He it is who raised among the illiterates a messenger from among themselves, who recites to them his messages and purifies them and teaches them the book and the wisdom, although they were before certainly in manifest error. I stopped and Allah said, you are a miracle. And I said, what do you mean by that? And I thought about it. He was giving this to me earlier this week because I was talking about my grandmother who could barely read and write, having a granddaughter who started reading at 4 and nobody even taught her how to read. I just picked up books and started reading. And I said, this is a family member with this demon. And I started thinking about all the other things. And I said, you're a miracle. For you to be here, you have a relationship with the messenger of Allah. And you come up out of these people with all this demonic stuff. I'm not the only one with a bunch of crazy people in my family. But everybody that is a miracle, you had a miracle worker that facilitated you. And then Allah made me think about my mother. My mother told this person, she said, I will go to jail. She said, and I'll just go in there and work out and take care of myself and come out and be a 90-year-old bodybuilder, but you will not continue to put your mouth and hands on my daughter and the messenger of God. So in order for me to get a message that says I'm a miracle, for me to be a 4-year-old and pick up a book and read it, so much so that one of my other uncles and my father used to bet people. I remember my father had some friends over. He had this friend named Paul and some other people, and he told them that I could read. I was little. And I remember one of his friends said, that little girl can't read. He said, yes, she can. And they bet. I remember this like it was yesterday. And I seen the $5 and stuff like that down on the table. They was putting the money down on the table. And so my father started handing me stuff. He started handing me 45s. Some of y'all not old enough to know what a 45 is, but it's a record that we used to play music on, okay? And they said, well, she just knows the colors. So he went through them and got like all the Motown ones because they all had the same colors. And I was reading them. But see, we plan and Allah plans. Allah is the best of planners. But Allah wanted me to tie my intellect to my manifestation or my ability to manifest. So from that point, I fell in love with my intellect because I saw people paying for it. Now, it kind of came back to bite me a little bit later because I was working and built about $500 million worth of businesses and projects for other people that I didn't do for myself. That's a whole nother thing. But I never shied away from knowledge because I was taught that it had value at a very, very young age, as little as 4. And I actually thought it was 5, but one of my other uncles called me after seeing the broadcast, and he said, no, Pooh, you was 4 and didn't nobody teach you. But I'm saying the miracle workers around us with that kind of love, to create that kind of environment in the womb and that kind of environment in the atmosphere, so that as a 4-year-old, I felt comfortable enough to tap into my gift. Because that love was a fertile and productive love. And I was going to ignore this crazy person. But I was so driven and so moved by my mother's love, not just for me because I'm her child, but her love for me and my ties to the messenger of Allah, which means her ties, because she had to cultivate that in the womb. So we're all miracles. So love is the key, cutting through to that love. What did Allah say to me? Yeah, this person's crazy, but you're a miracle. And you had a miracle worker who had to be a miracle too. And you've had so many miracles in your life. I don't care about that person. I just want you to continue to count on a more deeper level. Count your blessings. It's not just about the blades of grass. It's not just about the curtains and the furniture and the homes and the clothing. It's about a deeper level of connection that you have been blessed with. I want you to include that in your gratitude, because I'm going to show you what you could have been. And that goes true for all of us. If we're living right now following a man who is walking through the volume of the book, that means we walking in it too. So when we talking about these women of the Bible, and Sister and I on the phone yesterday talking about the Queen of Sheba, Solomon's wife, guess what? We somewhere up in there in them too. So these Bible series and how we're exploring these characters as templates of courage and love and strength, and people who made massive changes on behalf of their people because of their love. That's us. And it can continue to be us. You notice how in the Bible it'll say, oh, the Queen of Sheba, she's the daughter of so-and-so, so-and-so. That's paying homage to that parent who probably was the miracle worker that produced the miracle that helped guide them and perfect the miracle to the extent that they can change society, get written in the book and be documented in the volume of the books because of their ability to manifest. You see, so love is the key. Don't ask God to open a door for you. Thank him for the love, because the love is what's going to open the door. The love is what's going to bring you that relationship. The love is what's going to put you in front of some checks. The love is what's going to give you a break when you know you've been messing up. The love is what's going to prevent you and protect you when you know you don't deserve the protection because you know you're out of pocket. It's the love. I talked to my business partner with the hospital. I still call him my business partner, but with the hospital, his mother, she had 8 boys. And her husband died when I think the youngest was about 4 or 5. She was a woman from Mississippi, and she married a man from West Africa. He actually was a Nigerian who lived and worked I think he might have been raised in Liberia. And he was one of the authors of the new Liberian Constitution that President Tolbert was putting together. And he was killed in a coup attempt against President Tolbert. And I don't know if you all know the history. Later, President Tolbert and his people were buried in a mass grave. He wasn't one of the ones buried in the mass grave. He was killed early on. But that left his wife. He was an attorney that was educated at Howard. That left his wife in Washington, D.C. with 8 boys to raise on her own on a teacher's salary. And once their father died, the older ones were like in their preteens and teens. So when they got back, the older ones was stealing and doing all kind of stuff. And it started out for survival. So the older ones would go in the store and they say, well, you get the bologna, you get the bread, you get the cheese. And that's how they would eat, because she would feed them broth. And I'm not saying that to make that sound bad. I'm saying that, and I talked to her about this, and it's something that was very powerful. The way she raised her children and protected her sons in the mean streets of Washington, D.C., back when D.C. was the murder capital. Y'all know the murder capitals move around. At one point it was New York. At one point it was LA. At one point it was Washington, D.C. She just would pray. And she prayed all the time. And she appeared to be a very passive woman. But she had an inner strength about her where she would just pray. And she prayed and loved those boys into who they are today. And one of her sons was my business partner, who's a surgeon. I'm saying that to say that all of us that are miracles come from miracles. And the perfection of the love is the continuation of the miracles. You see? So her perfected love for God, my mother's perfected love for God, created another miracle, manifested another miracle. Let me know in the chat if y'all get that. Right? Created a miracle. And so we're all miracles. And so going into these higher levels of mathematical thinking is not just about counting the objects. It's about counting and acknowledging the circumstances of your birth. We hear Minister Farrakhan do this all the time. He talks about his mother's circumstances during her pregnancy. He talks about it all the time. So we have to learn to do the same thing, counting the blessings, counting the circumstances of our birth, and use that as motivation to keep us on point. I hope y'all get that. I hope that makes sense. That's what this Women of the Bible series has done for me. It has manifested ugliness in places that made me recognize the beauty and the miracle. That's what that's about. That's what love, that's why love is the key. Love is the connection. My mother just says something. She says, this is so sweet. She says, grateful to have been chosen to be your mother. Beautiful. So we all have that miracle worker that God chose to perfect the miracle and bring us through. And the deeper they love, the more manifest the miracle is in what they produce. Well, what's the lesson in that for those of us that are out here trying to do this great work? The deeper we love, the greater our ability to manifest becomes. And so you see it. You see the love for God on us. You see the love for God in everything that we touch. You see the love for God in our relationships, in our ability to interact with people. You see the love for God in the atmosphere around us. It's not just me, it's all of us. We are a miracle person, people. We really are. Because we shouldn't be here. We done survived some stuff that the majority of people would not survive. But we still here. Now we got to really go to work to get up out of the mind of Yakub, because it's taking us down. It's engulfing us in ratchetness and deviant behaviors to the extent that we might even be making ourselves extinct if we're not careful. So we gotta get up out of this mindset. We have to learn to think differently. We have to learn to love differently. We have to learn to be different, be better, function on a higher level. We have to learn not to run back to Yakub's breast every time we face a difficulty. See, Yakub's world is manifest. This world rooted in white supremacy is real. It's all around us. But because we don't know our history, and because we don't know how to count, and because we don't count, we don't have access to God's world. See, he already sent us a messenger who recited to us the book and the wisdom. And that book and that wisdom is what gives us access to his world. So we have to learn to go and nurse that when we're in trouble and when we're in fear, and not nurse on Yakub and his world. Not nurse on the world of white supremacy. See, some people get short of money and they go become agents and informants for some change. That you could just go nurse on the word and he will give you a way to come up with it. See, Job ascended into great wealth. And this was after Allah had straightened his means of subsistence. But he was allowed that great wealth because Allah knew that he would acknowledge him. He would count his blessings and see Allah in everything. So we got to be real now, more intentional. Used to be more general where we'd say, well, you got to count your blessings. We got to even be intentional about making sure that our go-to when we get in trouble and when we need something is not something outside of the word of God as given to us by his messenger. It can't be our go-to. So we can't go to witchcraft. We can't go to sorcery. We can't go to food. Some of us are addicted to food. We can't go to drugs. We can't go to alcohol. We can't go to gambling. We got to go to that word. And we got to make that word jump off the page and make that word flesh. We got to figure out if there is a worldly solution to our problems. We got to figure out how to go there and infuse that supreme wisdom in there. Because if you don't, you're only going to get as far as what the mind of this world will produce for you. So our thoughts, our leanings, our comfort has to go outside of that. You could be the greatest person, the most beautiful, God-fearing person that you want to be. But if your courage is rooted in the mind of this world, doesn't mean that you won't be safe for now. Doesn't mean that you won't be comfortable for now. What does it mean? It means that you're only going to produce to the extent that you can get it up out of this mind that is coming to an end. See, God is present. The presence of the mind of God is already here. It's already ruling the world. That's what you want to hook on to. You want to hook on to the rising star, not the falling one. All right, y'all. I think y'all got it. I'm just talking. My tea's still hot. All right, y'all. So y'all know what to do. A lot of y'all are texting me and emailing me. You know, my birthday is next week. So a lot of y'all are saying, well, what can I do for you for your birthday? Y'all see this scrolling across the bottom? Make a donation. Whatever you was going to do, just go right there to Cash App, $Mo today, MOETODAY. Go to sajdahhouse.com, get your coin, make a donation. That's your birthday gift to me. If you want to help me celebrate my birthday, that's how we're going to do it. We're celebrating all week. Let me see who's in the chat here. Let me holler at y'all for a second because I really, really appreciate you all. Appreciate each and every one of you. Brother Kaleem, wa alaikum salam, sir. May Allah bless you, continue to bless you from his bounties. Sister Aletha, love you, sis. All praises due to Allah. Brother Lamont, thank you, sir. Brother Lamont is going to be he's the ambassador for the channel because he's always the first one on. He's always commenting and lively in the chat. So thank you. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Brother Victor, for coming on. Thank you, Sister Sandra D, who's always here on Saturdays and on Thursdays with us. Thank you, Brother Kaleem, for being so lively in the chat. I had to say something else to you. Brother Gilbert, thank you, Brother Gilbert, for being lively in the chat. And thank you for enjoying my inspired words today. Let's see who else we got here. Y'all was getting it. Brother Robert Moss. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to teach I think I'm going to do a talk on the Black man. I think that's what I'm gonna do. That I'm gonna say, like, I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna save it. Robert Epps, thank you, thank you, thank you for commenting. He says Allah has all the answers. Let me see. Brother Carlos from Detroit, thank you, thank you. Shout out to the brothers. Did y'all know the brothers is like over 65% of my following are black men? When I was on radio, they was like, we don't know what to do with you because all your followers are black men. And some people would say, oh, that's because you're cute. No, I mean, yeah, but that don't make men follow. Let me tell you what. Let me just give you a little hint on what I think that is. So I told you that we got some crazy men in our family, but then we also have a couple really powerful and beautiful men. One of which was my father. But it's almost like Allah makes up for what you didn't necessarily have in your life to give it to you on the outside. And so all this tremendous support that I get from black men, it really makes me feel like Sheba because it's been consistent and it's been amazing, consistent since I started this channel way back on Blog Talk Radio when it was the Authentic You Radio. It was black men. Peace, Brother Otis. I see you. There you go, Otis X Watchman. Thank you, Brother Joshua, for coming on through. But it was the black men. And I'm gonna say this. I mentioned 3 things this week in a coaching session with somebody. And I said, when you turn your life over to Allah, a lot of times, sometimes your mind, because you don't really know yet how to think like Allah or think like a God. So you choose, or I'm going to use myself. I would choose the elevated thinking that I knew of in Yaqub's world. So I wrote, when I wrote The Mind of an Entrepreneur book, do I have it here? I don't have it up here, but yes. No, I didn't bring it over here. Some of you all have it. That's it right there behind me. I wrote that book with the intention of it being, and I thought that the audience would be black female professionals. It wasn't. It was black men, and it was the youth. Totally different from what I thought. And so I just had to go with it. When I started the blog talk show and the radio show, I thought it would be other professionals. And I thought namely women, but it wasn't. The shows have always been black men coming through. Black men coming through. When I go back to key significant points in my career, it's been black men that either blessed me with an opportunity, that nurtured me or taught me something. It's been black men. From my very first business project to working with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to his laborers, bringing me to Chicago, to and I can just name so many. We were talking about Reverend Dr. Lewis Rawls last week. He gave me my first independent business project. First one, when I really didn't kind of know what I was doing, he gave me that. But he gave me that certainty. My first job in public accounting was facilitated by Bill Mays, who was a millionaire from Indianapolis, Indiana. First job, first big job, if you will. So I can just go on and on and on. Listen, the minister gave me a doctorate in leadership in business just from being under him and studying him. I can list out the names of the incredible Black men that have been in my life, that have made a difference in my life. So my love for the Black man is uncompromised because of how I see him and how I've been taught to see him. See, I didn't come from a mother that was a male basher. Interesting. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a show. We're going to have a little show about that. But yeah, I could go on and on. So thank you. Shout out to the brothers who always supporting their sister and always complimenting and giving me so much certainty. And you all are the ones who call me and say, hey, I got a business idea. You all are the ones who throw projects my way. You all are the ones who recommend me for stuff. I am grateful because I don't think a lot of Black women have this type of love from Black men. I really honestly don't. But I was just thinking of different projects I had. You all are the ones who do it. Black men calling me, encouraging me. Sometimes some of y'all I don't even know that well. And you email me and say, hey, there's this project over here that I thought you'd be good for. You should send them your stuff. And then I end up doing it and I get the project. Or you all text me and say, hey, I want to introduce you to somebody. We'll introduce you to somebody. It's been the brothers. So I'm grateful, grateful for you all. I thank you all. I thank you for whatever it is you see and feel in me that makes you want to support me and continuously support me, because the brothers have been, the Black man has been 60-something% of my followers since I started tracking it, I think around 2009 or 10. So it's powerful stuff. And so I'm grateful. I have a deep love and a deep understanding, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. So if you want to help me celebrate my birthday this week, support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. You all got the Cash App. You know how to get a coin. If you want a sponsorship deck, I'll put the email. You just got to send me an email. You just got to go to sajdahhouse@gmail.com. Send me an email and put in the subject line sponsorship deck. And then just, you can say something in the body about how you feel about the project and that you want to be a sponsor. I'll send you the deck. I will also do a Zoom with you to walk you through the sponsorship deck. So we got some work to do because we got a short period of window of time in order to meet our deadline and when we want to be done and complete. So we want to get our contractors back in there so they can finish this last little bit of work. So if you want to support me, you want to give me a birthday gift, go to $Mo Today, MOETODAY, make a donation, or go to sajdahhouse.com, get your coin. I prefer that you all get your coin. We still got about 800 coins left. And so I prefer that you buy a coin for my birthday. That's what I want you to do. Because the coins are so cool. And I'm really, really, really spiritually driven to believe that they are going to be of such great value in a very short period of time, because after all, they are made of the copper from the home of the messenger of Allah. And I just think that it's going to come a point you're going to wish you had one of these. I think it's going to be real soon. Real soon. Brother Otis said he wants a coin. I'd rather see you become a sponsor or get a coin. Sponsorship is worth something too, because you'll get your name in the house, or you can just buy several of these. I had somebody the other day who said that, they said I was going to be a sponsor. I was going to get $2,500. And so they said, well, I think what I want to do moving forward is just get some coins. But one of the things that we do need you guys to do is to just get some big sponsorships in here. Even though this is a beautiful blessing, I can't really go to a contractor with $500. This is great though, because it helps us pay for, there's a lot that goes into keeping that house beautiful, and it's just sitting there. So while this just scratches the surface, I know it's of a great value to you. So you can buy however many of you want to sponsor $10,000. You can buy up $10,000 worth of coins as long as we have them. So, all right, peace and blessings, family. I want you all to see my new commercial. So stay. It's from, you'll see the lecture where the voiceover is from. It's a 1984 lecture of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from the Final Call building. And it's at the tip. I think it's from Light into Darkness. But let's see, somebody said something. Okay. I didn't see you on there. Good God. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. Check out the commercial, and we'll see you all soon. Stay close to social media. Make sure I didn't mention this. Make sure you like and subscribe to this page. Okay. Everybody who's on here, make sure you like and subscribe to this page, and do me a favor and tell one other person to come on and like and subscribe. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the